Welcome to Left of Center podcast. It's award-winning, nationally recognized, listened to by millions across the country.
It's so nationally recognized. We're even going to talk about a viewer from Texas that wants us to do something.
I mean, we have massive amounts of people from across the country.
I mean, massive might be, a little bit overblown.
Depends on what your definition of massive is.
Very good point.
I'm Irish, so just about everything's massive.
Massive is like six people.
Massive in my mind is.
I do like it though when we get texts or emails or messages from people around the country, which is pretty cool. And we did.
Yeah.
You want to introduce our new show and tell?
Sure. I got Reggie, the mascot from the Whiting Mascot Hall of Fame.
With a Y, by the way. I always think of Reggie with an I-E, but this is Reggie with a Y.
Reggie with a Y. It's a pretty cool little toy. It'll go really nice.
It'll add to we have two bobbleheads now.
Yeah, a bobblehead of me and a bobblehead of Reggie. So I'm all about bobbleheads. And by the way, I know that the Gary Railcats have a really cool mascot, and I'm open-minded.
This is a shout-out to the Gary Railcats to get us their bobblehead.
It's a good Twitter follow, too.
Nice. Isn't his name Reggie? No.
I don't remember what his name is, but he's
Reggie the Railcat?
It is Reggie, actually.
Wait a minute. How can there be two Reggies?
It's...
Yeah. It's Reggie.
See? Right? We got a problem here.
We had him at 219 Day, right?
Yeah, I think we did have him at 219 Day.
Look that up.
Lindsay, look up the Railcat.
Can you look that up?
Mascot. Yes. Because then we got a couple Reggies.
That is a bunch of bull crap, if that's the case. Mm-hmm. I mean, and Reggie the Railcat, if that's his name, was around. Rusty.
There we go. They've successfully avoided the double.
Yeah. Okay.
Rusty Railcat.
So we are open-minded, Rusty the Railcat. Great Twitter follow, by the way. Very edgy, Rusty the Railcat is on Twitter.
Like, who's your bear?
Yeah. Rusty the Railcat was like vulgar sometimes. Like, you think this is an obscenity-laced podcast?
check out the minor league baseball team's mascot.
Rusty the Railcat that's an edgy. That's an edgy.
Well,
Twitter
they got
follow.
it's all minor league baseball is all about being edgy, right? And trying to get people out there and do crazy stunts, like I guess have an edgy Twitter follow.
So anyway, we got Reggie.
What do we have? What do we have coming up today? By the way, if you're listening and following us on Facebook and Spotify,
we have. In a few minutes, we're going to have Indiana's Democratic nominee for governor, Woody Myers, call in.
With just 6 days left.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 week left. I'm sorry.
So we're going to do, 15 minutes or so with him. And then after that, we got a guest in studio, Mike Andrade, who's running for state rep Indiana.
Yeah, we're going to have a follow-up. These are like follow-ups to see what's happened since last time you were on.
Last time you had tequila.
Left of center. I don't think you'll have it today. We got to get ready for the election.
You're in a suit.
That's right. This is not a tequila drinking.
By the way,
this is not tequila drinking attire.
Notice my shirt?
Very nice.
Not even sponsors for the show.
Then I think you shouldn't wear it.
Oh, really?
I mean, why do they get
Sorry.
If they're not paying you to wear that shirt.
It's Red Stone, a good friend of mine from Porter County. He's a great guy. Lives in. He's on the Duneland School Board. I know that.
Red, you owe us a check.
I believe he's. Yeah.
This was a freebie.
This is a freebie, Red. But you see the mayor on this Facebook Live.
God dang, man! I'm like a human billboard for you, Red. For God's sakes! But
look how nice that fits too.
By the way, Red is a superstar. Good friend. We actually I've only known him about a year now, but we became real close. And he's a hardworking, great school board, independent / to the right politically.
Yeah, right of center.
He's right of center. I'm left of center.
But he's open. I thought he's very kind of open thinking type of guy.
He's so center that he supported Tom McDermott for Congress. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I think he's all over.
Yeah,
he's all over the place.
So anyway, Red, for wearing your shirt, the charge is $1,500. So
I mean, a mere $1,500. That's for today.
The whole show.
That's for today. So that's what you already owe us.
I'm wearing his underwear too, by the way. So that's like an extra $500.
Is there like a Metropolitan Steel banana hammock?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They went large on that.
We assume they went massive. Remember?
So just contact Lindsay with the check, Red. That'd be great. So
before we get into it, Lindsay, you want to read your thing so we can do
that,
and then I want to talk about something very exciting we got from a listener in Texas.
Definitely. All right. You're listening to Left of Center, where we cover everything from politics to important events of the day in the Midwest and the nation, all while having a little too much fun while doing it. If you can't get enough of us, follow us on Facebook at Left of Center Podcast or on Twitter at LOCPOD LOCPod. If you can't listen in live, download our episodes from the Apple Podcast or Spotify app and enjoy our show at a crystal clear 327 kilohertz per second. Just search Left of Center and look for our red and blue logo. Also, Red, if you're interested in sponsoring, feel free to contact us at leftofcenterpod@gmail.com, and we can get that started for you right away.
Thanks, Linz.
Of course.
We also, if you, what's up? If you, what's the word I'm looking
Sponsor?
for? No, when they rate our show.
Yes.
When they rate and review our show.
Please do so.
I was totally blank. It's too early. But if you rate and review our show, we will read it off on the air.
We should.
We have somebody from Texas that recently did that. You want to do that now, or you want
Absolutely. This is great. One of our listeners from Texas. Well, here's a test. If you care about your LOC listeners, you'll respond to our requests. Request from an anonymous listener in Texas. Have John conduct an in-depth image analysis of Melania's body double. Report findings on pod number 22, which would be this one. It's a massive story. Don't you guys know what's going on the internet?
Well, it's coming from Texas, so I imagine they're coming from the right, and they're up in arms because
over Melania's double.
Melania's double.
Does she have a double?
So what's weird is this person was like, if there was anybody that could do this, it's John. Like, I'm a sucker for a good conspiracy theory.
Yeah, you know you're Melania, too, so.
I know my Melania.
That, or maybe it was like, these two guys, forget it. They couldn't do an in-depth analysis of anything. So, John, you need to do an internet analysis.
What's the big deal about having a double for your wife? I mean, your wife isn't always on the same page.
Do you have a Marissa double?
I have a Marissa double.
There's a couple.
There's a couple.
My Marissa double.
Which Marissa double do you like?
My Marissa double digs me, too. She is, big time into Tom McDermott, which is key. If you're going to have a wife double, you have to be... she has to be into you.
So there's the picture of the alleged Melania double.
This is what kicked it off, right? This picture.
Marine One.
I guess she never smiles that wide, I guess is what started this.
I mean, you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Is that her?
No, it doesn't look like her at all.
So here's a side-by-side now.
I really find this
There's real Melania on the left.
I mean, she still looks good.
I'm just glad
I think fake Melania looks pretty good.
I'm just glad nobody's taking pictures of the Marissa double.
Right, because it doesn't look
because you would find out. This is not Judge Marissa.
No, wait a minute.
This is some other Marissa.
So there's Melania on the left, and there's fake Melania on the right, or alleged double Melania.
For me, it's not the smile; it's the nose. The nose looks different.
Maybe it's the glasses. Okay. The right one has glasses.
By the way, who cares really? So Melania didn't want to be with Donald that day, and it
doesn't seem like she wants to be with Donald any day.
The show has to go on. If the body double is having sex with the president, that's a whole different story, right? But the fact is.
How do we get there?
I mean, if it's
you mean hey, if you're going to be one of my doubles,
that's right.
You're all in.
Melania double.
You're all in.
We have to be convincing. We have to sleep in the same room together. All that stuff, right?
What?
Yeah.
This is just for photo ops. This is just so it doesn't appear that his wife hates him.
Tell me he doesn't love her though. If that's a Melania double, that just brings out natural urges in him.
Oh.
Well, the poll is up. Is there a Melania double?
There is.
Yes. Let us know what you think.
I think this was disputed and discounted quickly, but
really?
It is an interesting.
That is not Melania.
It was because
I think the nose
just 5 minutes earlier, the real Melania was there.
Right? Didn't they have huge pictures, and then it was a lot of pictures taken as she was walking up.
Yeah.
And unless there was some sort of bizarre Star Trek,
they put up a curtain.
Yeah. Why was a curtain put up in Marine One?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So I'm gonna vote yes. There's a Melania double.
Wow,
I agree. I don't even think it's that big of a deal. I'll be honest with you. It's a big deal if there is.
See, do you know what this tells me? That
what's the big deal
for elected officials like the mayor? It's not a big deal because he knows that this exists.
Okay, let's take a step back. Donald Trump is married to this woman. They don't always love each other. They don't always get along. Can you imagine you're having a big fight with Melania? And then Donald's got to go do a public event. She's like, screw you. I'm not going with you, asshole, right? So he's like, well, what am I going to do? Bust out Melania double, right?
Melania double, please please appear at the West Wing.
Melania double, please report to the West Wing. And then she reports.
In full costume.
She's like, Mr. President, Melania double, I need you to accompany me to look like Melania.
To Nashville.
To love me. I want you to love me too.
I don't
right?
Think,
not
I
make
think
love, to love.
No,
no, it's deep. It's got to be deep. It's going to be fake. Look at this.
It's got to work.
It's got to work.
Well, if it's got to work, then she should not like him, right? It's got to be because the Melania double would give away if all of a sudden she was all over him. Be that's got to be the Melania double.
Okay,
right? She's got to be.
Can you imagine if she Melania double makes out with the president and then real Melania?
Well, then we would know it was a double.
I agree. That's right. So you have to be cold.
You have to be cold and not want to hold his hand and
be repulsed by me.
Easy. I'm in.
All right.
Well, there you go. Thank you to their listeners.
So our unofficial conclusion is yes.
Yeah. What do the listeners say, John?
Right now, I'm gonna show the results here. 77% says yes, there is a body double.
We have a
Keep
smart
the
audience.
Conspiracy going, John.
We have a smart audience.
Yeah.
So, hey, we better pay some bills, and then we got to cover Election Day coverage.
We want to talk about our election night coverage. It's going to be real exciting.
Election night coverage.
Our first evening pod.
So next Tuesday morning, we will not be on. We are not going to be on Tuesday. 1 week from today.
We'll be on Friday.
We'll be on not Tuesday. And then Tuesday evening, we're going to do the show instead. We're going to do election night from 6 to 9 p.m. with multiple guests in the studio. We may as well cover it since we're talking about it, right?
Yeah, you hopped right into it. I thought we were paying bills.
We're going to, Matt Reardon, former excellent guest.
Also helps the cuss counter.
He will be in studio that night from 6 to 9 p.m. to help us. And we're not doing everybody in the studio all at once. It's going to be rotating in and out.
Socially distanced.
Also, Jerry Davidge, another previous guest, columnist from the Post-Tribune, is going to be election night coverage on Left of Center. Looking forward to those two.
Will be here.
Jerry Davidge, I'm sorry. Vera Maluznik, who is a party insider. She's wonderful. She's a former host on WJOB. She works for Lake County government now, and has like contacts that we're going
to be utilizing Vera's contacts.
We want to be the fastest. We want you to know from us before you know from anywhere else what's going on. So we need to give ourselves people that are going to help us get that.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And by the way, we're also satisfying all our Balkan friends. So we have Jerry Davidge, who's Croatian, and Vera Maluznik, who's Serbian.
Look at that.
We are not discriminating on Balkans.
I like that. And we got Irish with Matt.
Yeah,
so, right?
We're covering our immigrant population.
And then here Steve Sursic.
Oh, another Croatian. It's 2-1. Well, we have John, so it's 2-2.
All right, so we're bringing Steve Sursic in. Steve Sursic, Kevin's law partner. Incredibly, smart, knows what's going on with politics. He'll be in the studio that day, and others. Obviously, we're going to invite candidates by the Mike Andrades of the world, the Chris Chungs of the world. I mean, Woody Myers hopefully calls in after he wins the governor's race. So
it's going to be good.
It's going to be a good day.
6 to 9, we're going to be here on election night.
So next Tuesday, you're not going to hear us on the Tuesday morning show because we're going to do Tuesday evening. Hey, John, do you think that morning, John and Lindsay, we could do something that morning to remind people that we're doing election night coverage instead? So we're not going to have the Tuesday day show.
I think John's working on an event page right now.
Absolutely, we can, Tom. And yes, the event page is in the comments section right now of this stream. So share it, confirm you're attending.
Okay.
And look forward to that. We're going to be looking at local, state, and national coverage that night. So how about some sponsors, Mayor?
Sure, let's go. Attorney Alfredo Estrada at Burke & Sands and Carberry. With locations in Maryville and Chicago, Alfredo is one of the most experienced lawyers in the area of immigration and civil litigation. He is also available at the Hammond Legal Aid Clinic to help with DACA and all other immigration-related issues. Call Alfredo at 219-769-1313. Adelante con Alfredo.
Latitude Commercial Real Estate is a full-service commercial real estate brokerage and property management firm specializing in northern Indiana and the Chicago suburbs. Local tenants to national developers have benefited from Latitude's experience in the commercial real estate market, and when you select Latitude Commercial, you get Chicagoland expertise with worldwide marketing and networking ability. Whether you are a developer looking to sell, a tenant looking to expand, an investor looking to purchase, or an owner in need of property management services, Latitude can help. Contact Latitude at 219-864-0200. That's 864-0200. Or at Latitude Co. That's latitudeco.com so they can get to work for you.
All right. Real quick before we have our guest waiting online, Lindsay.
Yes.
Right?
Dr. Myers is ready.
Before we get to Dr. Myers, I do want to point out we're not doing Phil's Lock of the Week this week. We have two guests and too much time, but Phil is on a winning streak. I'd like to point that out. That last week he was 0 for the season.
0-6.
And then he gave us 2 picks, and he was 2 for 2. So was Lindsay, by the way.
What is it called? Every blind squirrel?
Right.
I don't think that's it. I don't think he gets the applause.
He went 2 for 2 this week. I mean, we have to give him his due.
Are you happy when your team's 2-6?
What I'm saying is, as soon as we challenged him with Lindsay, he went 2 for 2 right off the bat.
Fair enough.
So he picked the Rams over the Bears.
I don't like that pick.
I did the same thing. I've been following Phil's bet.
That's dangerous.
I did Rams over the Bears, and I did the under, and it turned out very well for me. Thank you very much, Lindsay and Phil.
I took the Bears for all you Bears fans, just to donate, do a donation.
I was rooting for the Bears.
Yeah.
Anyway, also, Phil's Lock of the Week was the Cards over the Seahawks.
I did take that one.
I took that one also.
Good job, Phil. You get the half. I think, though, do we still have the old one, John?
Well, that's the season.
It'll be soon
sound.
enough.
That's the sound of the season.
You're off the schneid, Phil.
So Phil has 2 and Lindsay has 5. Is that the score?
Yes, Lindsay 5, Phil 2.
Wow, Lindsay's kicking
all right.
Phil's
You know
ass.
what's funny is Phil has never reached out to us to say, when am I calling in?
No.
What time? Except for this morning. He texted Lindsay and I, what's the number?
And we said, bad news. We're not having you today, Phil.
He gets one win and he's like, let's talk.
Right.
Let's chat.
2
John,
wins.
don't forget the applause track when I call up.
2 wins. Yeah. But I do want to point out that game, the Cards over the Seahawks, Phil got sort of lucky. Like, the Cards came back to win that game. And if he was going to lose that game, I was literally going to discontinue the segment.
Well, yeah, right. I think we all were.
We would, like, at the beginning of the show, we'd be like,
Guess what? Phil lost again.
Phil's Lock of the Week has been discontinued on this show.
Further notice.
Right? Like, but, he did pull it out. Cards came back. That quarterback for the Cardinals is amazing.
That guy is...
What's his name?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
He's a stud. Oklahoma. I think I thought about him was cool. It's just... He's a runner as much as he is a passer, so real impressive.
And he was a professional baseball player. It offered a contract to play professional baseball, and he chose football instead. So he's
the
a
Bo
superstar.
Jackson of the 2020 season.
Right. But anyway, we got a gentleman that's very busy waiting online, so I don't want to keep Dr. Myers waiting for much longer. This guy is campaigning across the state of Indiana right now. He was in the studio a couple weeks ago, a guest on our show a couple weeks ago, and he's back. Dr. Woody Myers, running for Indiana governor. How you doing, Dr. Myers?
I'm terrific. How are you doing this morning?
Good.
Good morning.
Where are you today? Are you in southern Indiana, northern Indiana? Are you in Indianapolis?
I'm in Indianapolis because tonight is the second debate between the gubernatorial candidates. So I'm doing my final homework.
Good. Dr. Myers, how are we going to be able to watch that debate? Is it aired statewide or?
Yeah, I think on public television they're making it available throughout the state. I don't know exactly which channel in your area, but
I think it's Lakeshore Public
TV,
Television,
and it's also, I think, going to be on their the website as well.
And the website for who, Dr. Myers?
We're going to, I think, have it on our website, but I suspect that the public TV station WFYI in Indianapolis will have it on its website and share it to the others.
Speaking of debates, I know that you mentioned this is the second one. I heard on the first one you went after the governor pretty hard. Tell us what you thought were the highlights of that and why you think you came out of that, which I heard you came out of it great.
Well, the governor is trying to make everyone think that things are what we used to call hunky-dory. Things are great, and they're not. I mean, Indiana is behind in so many ways, in so many areas. And I was just trying to point out the truth. And the truth is that the Republican governors have had 16 years to fix our state, 16 years. And we are lagging in so many areas. I think 16 years is enough. If you can't get it done in that period of time, I don't think you can get it done at all. And so it's time to switch teams or switch coaches of the team. And that's what I'm proposing for the state. I want to come in with a fresh look at all of the various concerns and problems. Healthcare, COVID, of course, the economy, jobs in Indiana are lagging, especially in manufacturing. We've got substantial problems in our K-12 education system, which is why Jennifer McCormick, our current Republican superintendent of public instruction, who's worked on the same floor as the governor in the State House now for 4 years, decided to switch coaches and endorse our team. So I just know that there are many opportunities to make our state better, and I'm anxious to get in there, roll up my sleeves, and get to work.
Dr. Myers, you just brought up a great point about the superintendent of schools. You recently announced that once you're elected governor of Indiana, that you're going to appoint her, Dr. McCormick, a Republican, to superintendent of schools statewide. It's going to be an appointed position. I think that shows incredible bipartisanship. And not only that, Dr. McCormick's very well known and very well respected by teachers across the state of Indiana. And I thought that was a real positive for you. And it shows that Dr. McCormick, who's somebody that Hoosiers trust, also believes in your candidacy. I thought that was a real big announcement.
Well, I appreciate that, and you're right. She is very well respected across the state, and I think teachers understand that she's doing her absolute best, but she's not getting the help from the governor's office. She's not getting the help from the legislature, and that's why we haven't made the progress we need to make. And
that was something that the Republican legislature did a while, I think maybe, Mayor, 4 years ago, they changed superintendent of schools from an elected to an appointed position. That was a big deal. By the way, it happened right after the Democrats won the seat for the first time in a long time.
They did that before Jennifer
took
over?
Yeah. Or was it during?
thought it was during.
Maybe it was right after she won.
I think it was during.
Right. Yep, I think you're right. So Democrats had won it right before. Republican Dr. McCormick won it, and then they switched it to an appointed position.
Right.
So it'll be the governor's pick, and Dr. Myers, that means it'll be your pick.
So Dr.
We've made it, and she's looking forward to continuing her work, this time with a lot more help.
Dr. Myers, so once you win this thing and you take over as governor of the state of Indiana, how is it going to look different for us? What are Hoosiers going to notice that's different with Dr. Myers as governor of Indiana?
Well, right away, we're going to make sure that everyone understands this administration is going to be as transparent as possible. You're going to understand what decisions we're making and why, what data we're utilizing and why. Our decisions with respect to health and the environment are going to be based on science. We're going to explain our reasoning and our rationale, and we're going to make sure that the money that taxpayers contribute to the state, that those dollars are being spent efficiently. We haven't had that in this administration. There are just numerous instances of where we've wasted time, wasted money, trying to help friends of the legislature and others. We're not going to do that. We're going to pick the best companies. We're going to get a great price. We're going to stop the programs that were a good idea 10 years ago that don't seem to be a priority today, or we're going to pause them until the economy is better so that we can fund our priorities. And our priorities are getting our arms around COVID-19 in a much more efficient way, and then making sure that our teachers are adequately rewarded for the work that they're doing, because basically, although their contracts say that they are teachers, they are really responsible for Indiana's future. And we've got to invest in our future because we have a long way to go.
Dr. Myers, I was wondering, we've got 1 week left till Election Day, and I think I saw something recently that over 1 million Hoosiers have already voted early and by mail. What is kind of your message for the push for those folks that have not voted yet? Obviously, we want to get them to the polls, but what do you want to say to them to just get them out there and say this is an important election for governor, it's essential, and to get your vote, get their vote for you?
I would first tell them that today's a good day. Today is the day they should get out there and to go to their voting center. You can go online and type in "Where do I vote?" And most of the websites will after a few clicks tell you exactly where you should go. I just know that it will be better going today than waiting until the day of the official day of the election, November 3rd. We don't know what the weather is going to be like. This is Indiana, so the weather. Wait 5 minutes and the weather can change. And so I think that the sooner you go, the better. We've already had well over 1 million people vote. Some people tell me that it's probably now up to close to 1.5 million. We only expected originally about almost 2.9 to 3 million people to vote in the election altogether.
Wow.
And that means that if those projections were right, we've had almost 50% of the vote to have already occurred.
We don't
know about those projections because there's so much energy out there this year that I think all the pundits and all the polls and all the projections could be wrong, probably are wrong. And so we'll see what happens. But now is as good a day as any. Make sure you bundle up, take your medication with you, take something to drink. Take one of those little light chairs if you got one. Those little chairs that you use when you watch your kid's soccer game or your grandkid's soccer game. And take those with you so you can be comfortable. Bundle up if it's cold and a little windy. And I'm sure that it'll go much faster than you think. And say hello to your neighbor in the line. Make sure you're socially distanced. And by the way, make sure you take your mask.
Thank you. And I voted last weekend in Hammond at the Russell Street Courthouse. 5 minutes. Yeah,
it was like 10 minutes for me. And by the way, up here in Lake County, Dr. Myers, we've got 11 locations, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which would include today, they're open until 7 p.m.
Yeah, I tell you, it's really easy to vote. I know some people are traditionalists and they like to vote on Election Day, but you're so limited. John. You have to go to your precinct on Election Day. If you vote early, you can go to any of the super centers, basically.
That's right. But the key is if you do it early or you do it on Election Day, just make sure to vote.
Right.
In a Myers administration, we're going to look at all that. I don't like the idea of people having to wait in line hardly at all. Come on. People don't wait in line in banks hardly anymore. Or you get through the cashier line at your grocery store pretty fast today because we've automated those processes. And we've got to modernize and automate the processes in Indiana. In addition, we have to change voting so that you can get an absentee ballot for any reason whatsoever. You don't need to check off one of 11 different boxes to try to figure out which box you fit in. Just get an absentee ballot and turn it in, and we'll count it. That's the kind of approach that we need. And then in time, I hope it's a national effort that we need to figure out how to make it easy for people to vote safely and accurately electronically. If my bank and your bank, Tom, can keep track of a nickel that you send over to Uzbekistan or a dime that comes back to you from Europe or Asia, why can't we figure out how to use the same technology to make sure that one person, the right person, is voting? I think we can. I think it's time for us to nationally to change our thinking about how to vote and the technology of voting. And to make it easier to register. There's no reason why registration should be closed. I mean, why not register up until the day of voting?
Absolutely,
that has to change as well.
Absolutely, Dr. Myers. And I just read an article today in the Times talking about Governor Pritzker in Illinois has recently enacted real tough restrictions on restaurants. And basically all indoor dining in certain counties, not including Cook at this point, is in place, which is, I imagine, predictably going to cause a lot of people that would go to restaurants in Illinois to come over to Indiana. Casinos are closed down at 11 o'clock in Illinois, so I imagine gamblers that want to go later than 11 o'clock will come over to Indiana, which is a blessing and a curse. How do you feel about that, Doctor? I mean, is Governor Pritzker more on track than Governor Holcomb, or are we doing it right? Or
Yes, he is. He's taking painful steps now in order to open his state up more quickly and efficiently later. The COVID does not understand politics. COVID understands that it wants to go from person A to person B. And if you're in a casino and the person in the slot machine is next to you is screaming that they just won, that means that their virus is coming over to you. Mm-hmm. Masks will help a lot, but they are not perfect. If you're in the restaurant and you have to order your waiter's response coming to you or your response coming to him means that the virus has an opportunity to go from person to person. So Governor Pritzker is making a statement on safety for his people, a statement that our governor doesn't have the courage to make. We are at stage 5. There are only 5 stages. Stage 5 is the most open. Yet, in the last week, we've had more new coronavirus cases per day than any week since the pandemic began. So what sense does that make? The answer is none. And so we have to dial it back until we are able to get our numbers down, until the positivity rate comes down. And Tom, the thing that worries me the most, I have to tell you, is, and I watch it very closely, is the rate of hospitalizations. Hospitalizations for COVID-19 are now back to where they were in April, at the peak of the epidemic or the pandemic. We now know that in the next couple of weeks we're likely to exceed the hospitalizations that we had in April. There is some good news. Our hospitals are better prepared now than they were, but they only have limited capacity. And we even with the new medications, putting somebody in the hospital, trying to treat this disease as an inpatient is a huge challenge. And it doesn't mean that once you get out, you're going to be well, because now we are aware of complications of the virus that linger long after hospitalization. So it is in everybody's interest to take steps right now to dial it back and to reduce the transmission, so that we can get back closer to normal later, and closer to a safe and effective vaccine.
Dr. Myers, real quick as we kind of finish up with you, what I wanted to find out, and this is kind of an analysis of the vote, right? We've talked about the fact that I think it's pretty obvious, or maybe it is, we're going to see on Tuesday, that the president is not going to do as well in Indiana as he did 4 years ago. I think that it seems that's the way it's going. He won Indiana by 18 points against Secretary Clinton in 2016, and I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that. They're talking about maybe even in the mid-single digits to high single digits to carry Indiana right now, at least the polls I saw. Do you think that benefits you, and do you think there's another kind of vote out there that you're grabbing that didn't happen in 2016?
I think so. We'll know hopefully soon, but I believe Indiana and this nation, we understand that we need to change both in Washington, D.C. and in Indianapolis as well. Lake County, Porter County voters are aware that this state hasn't done what it needs to do to help our teachers, hasn't done what it needs to do to tamp down COVID-19, hasn't done what it needs to do with protecting our environment. There are just a lot of things that we are lagging in, and that's because we have a supermajority in the House and the Senate and our legislature who thinks they can do whatever they want. And we've had a governor without courage to take the steps and doesn't even have control of the folks in his own party because they are not passing the bills that even he wants. So it's a very challenging time for the state of Indiana, and it really is time for us to change leadership. And I believe that that's going to happen here and in the nation as a whole.
Thank you, Doctor. And one last question for me, Doctor. I've noticed that the Libertarian candidate running for governor seems to have a groundswell of support in the Republican Party. And, there's a lot of dissatisfaction within the Republican Party with Eric Holcomb's leadership. It seems to me that the Libertarian candidate, Rainwater, seems the more traditional Republican type. And the thinking that a lot of people that are very smart about politics is that he's going to take so many votes from Eric Holcomb. A lot of traditional Republicans who are unsatisfied with Holcomb will vote for Rainwater, and that the fact that those two are in a race could split the vote up enough for Dr. Woody Myers with the Democratic support to win the governor's race. Is that the thinking right now?
Wouldn't that be great?
Well, I mean,
I'm not going to just.
I've never seen a libertarian. I've never seen a libertarian with this much
polling
support.
This much, yeah.
Right.
It's crazy.
No, I think there are a lot of issues, and one of them is the issue of legalization of cannabis, and that's a much bigger issue in Indiana than people I think realize. And I've come out very strongly to say that we should decriminalize simple possession, and we should legalize for medical purposes. I'm not ready yet to take the giant step towards legalization for recreational purposes. I think we need to take a good big step first, and I think that there are a lot of people that are resonating with that. There's no reason why. If you walk across the line of the border from Illinois to Indiana, you can be arrested for something that's legal in Illinois. We know that it's time to make a change in that law, and the fact that the governor hasn't budged one inch on his position is just yet another indication that he's out of touch.
Absolutely out of touch. And that's a great point, and I appreciate you bringing that up, Dr. Myers. And I just want you to know I put 500 yard signs for you and Linda Lawson out in front of my house, and they were gone within one day. One day, Dr. Myers.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that was...
I have to tell you, one of the things that I did underestimate was the Indiana demand for yard signs. If I have one call in almost an hour of somebody who wanted and didn't get a yard sign. So next time around, if we're going to have to think through our allocation and our production of those signs.
Well, we got one here in the studio. It's right behind the mayor's. We've got one here. We're looking at you and we're listening to you. So we want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Dr. Myers. And when you run for re-election, we'll do signs again in my front yard. But I'm looking forward.
Right,
I've already voted for you and Linda. But I tell you what, I feel real good about your candidacy. I think you guys are a great team. I appreciate you as a Hammond mayor picking up a Hammond, former Hammond police officer as your lieutenant governor.
She's wonderful.
Yes, sir. But I think you've done a great job, Dr. Myers. You make me proud to support you, and I appreciate you coming on for the second time, coming on Left of Center.
Good luck, Dr. Myers.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Take care,
Dr.
running.
Myers.
All right. How about a little bit of business, and then we'll get our next guest in.
By the way, I've received notice that the next gentleman coming in, Mike Andrade, he travels with a band. There's a 3-piece band that's coming in here, and he's got chips and salsa, which makes me happy because I am a little hungry
You're giving it away, man.
Oh, really? My bad.
That's the teaser.
Never mind. Disregard what I just told you.
We all know you're bad with secrets.
All right, let's go. Hey, let's cover some. We got a new sponsor.
A couple new sponsors.
Yeah, a couple new sponsors. True Barbecue. By the way, I appreciate True Barbecue very much. I go there a lot. Kevin and I, we do pre-show there a lot.
Even though they got rid of your favorite?
They got rid of my favorite dish.
Which was?
It was the tuna dish they had.
You could basically, okay, so this is something about the mayor. He's a creature of habit, especially with food.
True.
At certain places.
Yeah.
So if he was coming to True Barbecue, you could basically say,
you know what I'm
the mayor's running a little bit late. Let's get him the tuna.
The tuna. They know. I walk
tuna.
in. They
ahi tuna.
And it's got like a jalapeno
you love
jelly,
the jelly.
right?
Yeah.
And they got rid of it. By the way, I had a bad week. So I go to BW3's last week, and they're like, what kind of wings do you want? I said, hot barbecue, of course. I get the same meal everywhere I go. Hey, Mike, what's up? And BW3's gets rid of hot barbecue.
You've had a bad week.
I've had 2 goddamn dishes.
Hey,
like,
don't rip our new sponsor, though. True.
I'm not ripping True Barbecue. I'm just urging them, thanking them.
Please bring it back.
Please bring back the tuna. The tuna dish was great. Like, what's going on? But anyway, True Barbecue is never going to sponsor us again because
we hope they do.
The first day, right, I'm like ripping them for getting rid of the tuna.
But the upside is their menu's good otherwise.
But
very good.
By the way, another upside is Kevin and I are such good customers there. We go literally.
We guilted them into sponsoring.
Once or twice a week we go.
I think we better sponsor them. They come in.
So I want to hurry up and get through these commercials so I can start chowing on these chips that are in front of me.
With the guac.
Yeah, True Barbecue. You don't have to go to Chicago to find good food and a fine dining experience. True Barbecue in Munster has all of that and more. Stop by and take a look at our menu full of barbecue favorites with some new twists on old classics. Choose a drink from our extensive list of whiskey-based cocktails or stick with one of your favorites. Located at 8940 Calumet Avenue in Munster. Come visit us to enjoy True Barbecue. Really great restaurant, by the way. If you like barbecue, you can't beat it.
And a great bar. And if you're a whiskey drinker like I am, they have a great selection.
By the way, we went there and watched the Bears game last night.
A little bit.
They have the game playing. They have it's just a great atmosphere.
You can go on the bar side or you can go on the dining side.
Kevin and I are always seen on the bar side. Usually
a little bit.
The night before our show. We don't just walk in here.
Pre-show.
We don't walk in and just start bullshitting.
You might think we're that good.
We're not.
We're not even
close to that good. Like, we have to plan this out extensively before we come in here, and we do it way better at True Barbecue.
It's a good place to stop.
All right.
Misprint Printing with both Munster and Hammond locations. Rick Balzenberger and his team are there for absolutely all of your printing needs. He's responsive, fast, and good. Banners and signs of all sizes, from wrapping cards to business cards. No job is too big or too small for the folks at Misprint. Call Rick or Teresa at 219-836-2517.
He's responsive, he's fast, and he's good.
You love to geek that line.
I do like. William Luter for Hammond School Board. This is an important race. I'm freelancing here. One of my most important, for the people I'm supporting for school board in Hammond, I asked them a very simple question. Do you support Scott Miller as superintendent of Hammond Schools? If they hedge on that, if they're even close to hedging on that, I won't support them, because I think it's so important that Scott Miller stays superintendent of Hammond Public Schools that I would never, if I were a Hammond resident, I would never support a candidate that was not supportive of our superintendent. He's excellent.
He's been amazing.
He's excellent. We cannot let this guy go. And I tell you, there's a movement on the Hammond School Board that may try to toss him. And I don't think it's going to happen, but I want to make sure that never happens. So I made sure to ask my 2 candidates for school board, and one of them is right here, William Luter for Hammond School Board, a supporter of Superintendent Scott Miller, which is very important. During this unprecedented time, it is more important than ever to make sure the right people are leading the Hammond School Board. William Luter is one of those people, a parent, a Hammond resident, and a longtime public servant. He supports teachers and students and is invested in the success of Hammond schools. Endorsed by both the American Teachers Federation and Mayor Tom McDermott, William Luter wants to work with the schools and the city to make Hammond schools better now and into the future. For more information about William Luter, visit his Facebook page under the name William Luter, Lewter, for Hammond students. Paid for by William Luter for Hammond School Board.
All right, there you go. If you're out voting, speaking of voting,
what's up,
look
Mike
who's in the
Andrade.
studio.
Hey, we had a busy day today. You look tired, dude.
Always looking good, though.
Are you tired?
I am.
I usually see you with like a pep in your step. You just have
this guy's nonstop. 20 hours of campaigning.
He's been
probably
working hard.
a day.
I've been seeing him everywhere.
It's been a ride.
Yeah. See, you're right though. Even Mike's voice is.
Mike,
you
can
tell
job.
He's been pushing.
You know what you need? You need a chip.
I need some tequila.
That's what you need. Yeah. I'm glad you didn't walk in with the tequila.
That's going to be for next year.
Yeah,
we'd have been worried.
Like, geez.
We'd have been worried.
But, Mike, I think you need one of these chips and some hot salsa.
Well, we know the mayor is a big chip fan.
I'm eating.
This is 8 a.m. with chips and salsa. Is that okay to do, Mike?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Anytime. Look at that.
If anybody knows the mayor, they know he loves his chips
one?
and salsa, and he loves his Mexican food.
Let's see how this goes down. Careful on red sweatshirt. Did the Metropolitan Steel sweatshirt get some salsa on it?
This is actually Don Andres.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, love them.
We were there for lunch.
Mike and I went there.
A couple months ago.
I'm going to tell you something about that place. Yes. My favorite guacamole is Don Andres.
Well, have some. It's right in front of you. Damn, this red sauce is hot.
You know it's good when you go in there and you hear the guy making the guacamole in the back, and you're like, this is going to be good. It is, and you know who else thinks it's the best in the world? Phil Talon. Not that he's a guacamole expert.
Oh, when I think of Mexican food connoisseur, I think of yeah.
It is very, very, very good, though.
And you know what is? I'm big in small business owners, supporting small business owners, and at Don Andres is literally the wife and the husband
and the kids.
And the kids.
The kids are there.
And the kids
helping
are there.
wipe up the tables.
Yep.
There's somebody's in the cash register. They're working.
Yeah.
And we talked about that.
This is also the restaurant. Are they the same owners as the Don Andres in downtown Hammond?
His brother owns the one. Yeah. They're relatives. Yeah.
Dang, I tell you, this red sauce is hot.
You're not shy though.
Your time loves spicy.
And we can hear the crunching.
Really?
Yes.
My bad. My brother
I
wasn't
think
here.
it's good.
My brother Aaron would be tearing this apart. He'd be putting like hot sauce in the hot sauce. He's crazy.
So Mike, tell us state of the race. I know you're running like crazy, and it's the finish, almost to the finish line. So how you feeling, and what's going on out on the trail?
He's feeling great because he's winning.
I'm feeling good.
You're winning, Mike. Just keep on trucking. You're winning. You know that, right? I want you to know that you're winning.
Thank you.
Don't forget that.
Thank you.
Because sometimes candidates forget that. Now I'm eating my chip. Leave me alone.
We're gonna let Mike talk while we eat the guac.
But we're working hard, and like I told everybody and our volunteers and my committee, we're not gonna step off the accelerator into November 3rd. And yes, I'm starting to get a little exhausted because I'm running around every day, everywhere.
What about your business? Are you still managing to keep your business afloat?
Yes.
It's hard. You're trying to campaign, which is taking 85% of the time, 90% of your time, and you also are a businessman.
So that's a good example. Sunday, I spent the whole afternoon or evening just going over the receipts and the balance checkbooks of the company. And, I told my wife,
gotta keep things going.
Sit here next to me in my home office while we talk and I catch up on paperwork. And then what I do normally early in the morning, I go to some of the projects and look at them while before the early voting starts. Early voting starts at 9 a.m. So around 6:45, 7, I'm running around looking at the projects. And then I get done with the early voting and I run to go look at the projects or in between. And that's probably the most exhausting part about it. I've never worked so hard in my life like I've had the last 9 months.
You got me in trouble last time you were on the air because you said, I got home last night and I haven't seen my wife in so long. And we sat there in bed and we talked for like 45 minutes. And I get home and Marissa's like, what the hell is going on here? Mike's talking to his wife for 45 minutes in bed. I'm asleep 45 seconds after I hit my bed. But you know what? So real Marissa was mad at me, but body double Marissa still loves me. Body double Marissa thinks I'm the best. Like that's one thing, Marissa double loves Tom McDermott.
Oh my God, I need some water. Try
Dude,
that.
This green one, really? Is that really hot?
Oh my God.
Do we have water?
Mike, you didn't tell me that.
Well, he likes spicy stuff, so we got him spicy salsas. That one over there,
What's
one
the
on the side
difference between
of
those? That's not that bad.
So this is the least spicy one, the green one.
Really?
And then the red one.
That one's more jalapeno.
And then the one over there is a spicy one.
Yeah, well, now you tell me. You put that over by the mayor. I'm not I like hot food, but that is hot.
Really?
I bet you Lindsay could eat this and she would be
I
like,
bet she would.
Right, Lindsay?
All right.
That cleared me out.
Let's see this Irish kid.
Look at him. That's pretty hot.
Yeah.
What are the? Do we have the names for these?
I think this one's hotter than that one.
Just kind of green salsa, red salsa.
Well, that one's made out of the guacamole, the one at the end. So
that's so good.
That sauce is made out of the guacamole.
It is
this
hot.
Is just a regular green sauce, and then you got the red one here with
Dude,
cilantro.
I'm telling you.
You know what? It's so good.
If I go to a Mexican place and they have bad salsa, I want to walk out. You cannot start off a Mexican food meal with bad salsa, right?
That is true.
Right, and this place is amazing.
It's like going to a barbecue place and you don't taste the barbecue in it. And you're like, this is horrible
this can't
barbecue.
Be real barbecue.
Like true barbecue never does that to us.
They just cancel your favorite meal.
Don Andres, they do cancel my favorite meal, but I still manage. I had the Cobb salad last night. Now we got to go to Don Andres, and
it's one of my favorites. That is our go-to carry-out Mexican.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Great food.
Wonderful.
This is breakfast, totally.
It sure is.
That's
I'm
awesome.
Getting ready for court. You're getting me ready. I'm going to be ready to go with all this
pumped.
hot and spicy. I'm sweating. My makeup.
Man, it's hot. Hey, I noticed a new thing that's developing with the early vote lately, Kev. And I noticed Mike and his campaign is taking this up, is working the lines at the early voting. That used to be, that's like a new thing for politicians. And I think I've seen Mike do it. I've seen Jonathan Weinzappel doing it. Obviously, we did it during a congressional race. But like now with these massive lines, it seems like that's a natural pace for the elected officials to get votes.
Well, I mean, there's with all the people waiting. I mean, it's a great place to see voters.
And by the way, they're going to vote.
Absolutely.
And so here's my analogy on this: is do I do phone banking and half of the people don't answer the phone and you leave a voice message, or do you actually are meeting the person that in a couple minutes is going to go in there and cast their vote?
I agree totally. You're doing it the most effective way by working.
Overall, people love it. I do get a couple jerks, and they just
sure. You're always going to get those, right?
But overall, the experience has been phenomenal, and it motivates me because I'm meeting somebody there, and she's like, this lady, for instance, I voted for you in the primary. I'm going to vote for you again, or my neighborhood has full of Andrade signs. This is who you are. I'm glad I finally met you.
That's
or
great.
I got your mail piece. I'm glad you're here. And so I could tell you stories after stories, just positive stories. But then also, here, I'll give you a good example. This guy's, I'm Republican. I'm not voting for you. Get away from me. And I said, okay, sir. I said, I know you have several minutes here. Give me at least a shot to just talk to you. I'm here. My opponent's not here. I'm here. Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead. Just being an asshole. Mm-hmm. And so I started talking to him. I said, look, when you go to see your doctor, do you ask your doctor, is he Republican or Democrat? You just expect him that he's going to be a good physician. He's going to take care of you. When you go eat at a restaurant, you ask the waitress, is the chef Republican or Democrat? You expect he's going to cook a good meal for you to eat. I said, give me a chance. I said, I am Democrat. I'm going to work hard for you. That's why I'm here to prove to you that I want your vote. When he came out, he says, I voted for you.
How about that?
And that is the experience that I'm getting that motivates me more. Even though it's been raining and it's been cold and hot and crazy fall weather, it motivates me to be there and meet the constituents.
And it's a good reason not to prejudge voters.
Correct.
Right? I mean, everybody, just because, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I think for the most part, people are open to listen to folks that want to tell them why they should vote for them. And you should be, right? You should be. And I think that's a great story because it shows that, voters are open. They want to hear why you're going to represent them well. I think we all know why you're going to represent us well, Mike. And I just, those stories just make me feel like you're the right guy. I know you're the right guy.
In addition to that, sorry, Mayor, in addition to that, I get so many Facebook messages from people I don't know. And they said, your dad was out there, I'm voting for you. Your dad's a great guy. My dad, I cannot tell you how many votes my dad has gotten me. It's incredible that people love when your dad is out there and he's rooting for you. And my dad is not shy. I'll tell you a quick story. In the beginning of the early voting, my dad would be telling people when they would come out of the voting, hey, if you didn't vote for my son, get back in line and vote for him again. And I'm like, Dad, you can't say that. This is Lake County politics.
No, Dad, don't do that.
But, my dad is very animate that I'm going to be, I'm going to win, and he wants me to win, and he's rooting for me. He's been a phenomenal father my whole life. And he's out there, every day helping me out getting those votes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I was watching your opponent the other day, and he was on WJOB with the Republican Party chair, and he had this amazing idea. He said, we should have local home rule here in Northwest Indiana so that if we sell gas, we get a portion of the sales tax. And he's like, I'm just going to talk to the governor, and he'll give us that money.
Part of theirs, part of the government.
Yeah, no problem. And Kevin and I were watching at the same time, and we were laughing like, is this guy for real? Like, seriously? Like, we've talked about that for decades, and it's just been shut down by the state. And all of a sudden, your opponent's like, I got this great idea. And they were acting like, man, I've never heard that before. It's like, I was laughing my butt off.
My favorite part of it was, no, we're not going to enact an additional tax. We're going to ask the state for part of what they get. Because
great idea, Tom.
I'm sure they're going to roll that over and just give it right over to us.
Well, and the other thing that he's running out there is he's got a history. But anywhere I go, nobody knows him. Anywhere I go, everybody says, who's your opponent? Who's your opponent? And supposedly he's got a history. My primary opponents had more signs out there than he did.
I knew who your primary opponents were. I do know who your primary. I had never met this guy. And I've been in government for 20 years in Northwest Indiana. I have no idea who this guy is.
So a funny story about that, I saw him a couple of weeks ago at the early voting. So he went in there about a week late to put a couple of his signs. So number one is you're showing to the constituents that you don't care because you should be having your signs there ready when early voting starts. So if you tell me that you're going to be this late to show up and put your signs out at the early voting location, it just tells me you're driving your dedication for your constituents. Number two, he shows up and he starts haggling me saying he's got a history. And I go, well, I'm glad you got a history.
A history of what?
Well, he's been involved in the community in Griffith for 20-some years. And I said, I'm glad you got a history. I said, because I have the work ethic.
There you go.
I said, in the election day, we'll see who's going to win. But that's true.
Is it getting dirty?
There's been some stuff going on out there. But like I want to stay a positive
just
campaign.
internet stuff? Or
internet.
Well, they're always going to get that going.
We've had a couple of yard signs already get knocked out this Sunday. Actually, I was out there fixing it with my neighbor, Bill. That's somebody else who's been phenomenal, my neighbor. And I'm not letting this distract me because we're so close away. So my thing is stick your nose in the ground and just grind it out.
Keep running.
Just keep running.
You got one more week, bud.
Positive message.
One more week.
That's
one
right.
More week. We've been doing this for 9 months, and that's probably why it's a little bit more exhausting because I had a primary.
You had a primary to win.
And I had a primary. I mean, one of the guys who was running against me was just wacko.
Yeah.
So I had a primary.
One of them.
Both of them.
Yeah, thank you.
So I had a primary, first-time runner with no name recognition, but it motivates me. I remember somebody at WGOB was saying during the primaries, "Oh, Mike Andrade is not going to win because he doesn't have an Irish name. It's an Andrade name." And, that motivated me. That voted me in the primaries because I'm like Michael Jordan. You want to talk smack at me? Okay, I'm going to go score 60 points for you at Madison Square Garden.
I didn't even know you played basketball.
I do. I love basketball. But that's one of the things that motivates me. Like, the more people go out there and just talk smack about me, the more it motivates me to put in the more extra hours. I might be exhausted, but I say, okay, I'm going to put 2 more hours. Let's do this.
Well, nobody's going to ever accuse you, Mike, of not working hard. I think that's one thing. We talked about last time you were on about your dad's work ethic. You learned it from your family. And I think that goes without saying. I mean, I have been, and I know the mayor has too, and everybody that knows you has been so impressed by how hard you're working and how you want, how you want the job.
Yes.
You want it because you want to represent the community. You want to make sure and represent all of the community. You've said that over and over again. I'm looking forward to the results. It's going to be a lot of fun when we get them.
Honestly, like when Representative Candelaria Reardon said she was stepping down and running for Congress, one of the biggest fears we had was we worked as a party so hard to get Mara into the seat. And it's a tough seat to hold. It could go either way.
Mm-hmm. And she worked hard to get it.
Yeah, and we worked hard and she worked hard. So when she didn't seek re-election, we had to make sure that this new candidate was going to be somebody that could win and somebody that's going to work hard and that's serious about it. I tell you, we found the perfect candidate, Mike Andrade. He's knocking on doors. He's pounding yard signs. He's working the lines. People know who he is. Like his opponent, honest to God, I'm not just trying to diss the guy. I've never met this guy. I've never seen this guy in the community. I've never seen him anywhere near Hammond, Indiana. Never. No. Like, I honestly, I look at him. If he walked in the studio right now, I would recognize him now only because last week I watched his radio show where he had this amazing idea about local home rule. But, like, you're working harder. You deserve it way more than he does. And you're going to be successful. Just, don't slack off at all. You got a final week push,
I know, Mayor, you said you've got either you have or you're going to, I think, knock on doors with Mike this weekend.
We were supposed to last week. I had a situation that prevented that. Eli worked me hard. I wanted you to know that.
Oh, yeah, he's working us. We're going to get out there. Hopefully, you've got Hammond precincts too. So
yes, we have 5 precincts in Hammond. 5.
The poll online was they want to see me eat more hot salsa. I did. That's why I've been quiet because I'm trying to get my breath back, and I've got the sniffles now.
Man, I tell you what.
So thank you.
This was perfect ordering the food.
Yeah, it was.
I heard that you might have. By the way, I noticed. The local newspaper is not. They're Republican leaning. We all know that, right? I just, and I don't want to pay much attention to it because it's really not that important.
Sure.
But I just thought they slapped you unnecessarily.
I like it though. I'm the underdog.
But it is bull crap.
It is.
That they didn't even like the fact that you work so hard and the fact that, but they literally just. He's a white guy. He's a Republican. That's our guy. Yeah. And they literally.
I think they basically said, like, we don't even know what Mike. We don't know Mike Andrade.
We don't know
that
Mike?
Be?
And they reach out to me. I talk to them on the phone, and I send them this very professional 2-page statement about my campaign, what I plan to do, what I'm going to do. I stayed late that night to do it for them because they wanted like a last minute. Mm-hmm. They're so unorganized, and they call me. Oh, we need this tomorrow. I'm like, fine. So Victor, who helps me with policy, and I got into putting everything together for them. So I email it to them. And for them not to write not one single thing about me, it was so unprofessional.
For them to say they don't know who you are, then they're not doing their damn job because you've been everywhere.
I've been everywhere.
And by the way, I can't even tell you who my reporter is. I don't even know who my reporter is anymore. I don't think I have one. And we're the largest city in Northwest Indiana. So, like, if the media doesn't know you, if the Times doesn't know who Mike Andrade is, maybe it's because they're not doing their damn job and getting out in the community because it's not hard to know who Mike Andrade is. I've seen you everywhere.
Yes.
So, like, how is it that you're everywhere and they don't know who you are?
Well,
they haven't bothered.
And they lost business because we were about to put a big ad in the Times about my campaign like the last 2 weeks. So I said, screw it. We're not going to do it.
Save yourself $10,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
You're getting views right now, my man. So, I mean, seriously.
Viewership is up.
Viewership is up.
I think, as you mentioned, Mayor, Mike always travels well. Last time we had Eli and his ukulele. Today, I think you've got some guests, which is why I am going to stand up, make some room for them to come in on my side so we can stay socially distant.
I said last time Eli was in the studio, I said ukulele players are good people deep down inside.
True.
They're not going to be like murderers. You don't see a murderer playing a ukulele,
Not
right?
usually.
Conan O'Brien took our riff. He did the same exact thing. Somebody was playing a ukulele. He says, ukulele people are very non-threatening. I'm like, this guy took our riff.
Who did it first?
We did it before him. And he took our riff. I'm just
glad to hear that the Conan folks are listening to our pod.
Team Coco. I know what's up. Team Coco. I know what's up. You guys are copying our stuff.
Well,
that's all right.
Don Andres kids are phenomenal, as we talked about them.
Yep.
And they're musicians, so I wanted them to come and play something for you guys.
Awesome. I am going to vacate this side.
What is the name of this band?
They're going to come in on this side. I'm
hey,
going to
guys,
get out of the way.
Come on in.
And several of them really youth inspired.
These guys are young.
Okay. Yes.
Come on in.
Hey guys, what's up? I love it. You guys are wearing shirts. Hey Kev, why don't you pull that chair out of the way? Yep. Hey, pull up the microphone, my man. What's up? How you doing?
Good. Yourself?
What's your name?
Christian.
Christian, how you doing? What's the name of your band, Christian?
It's just a group of brothers, but right now we've been playing for a couple years now.
You guys, what's that? On parties? Yeah. So I could hire you guys?
These guys have served me at Don Andre's. I recognize these guys.
Dude, these chips are amazing. You ever have salsa for breakfast? It's great. No, I have now. Oh my goodness, I've had the best breakfast right here.
Thank you.
So what are you guys gonna play for us?
We have some couple songs.
All right, let's hear what you got. Thanks for coming, guys.
Sincero, lo que vale es mi persona, y sigo siendo el austero. Quiero voltear a verme, porque en las malas se fueron. Dice que era una llamada de tenis para saludarme. No voy a hacer golpe de cara hasta con mi propia sangre. El dinero no hace el hombre hace el dinero. Yo no quiero darle de lujos porque ya he sido austero. El bote de carga está conmigo de cero.
Yeah, great job, you guys. Love it, love it. You got another one in it?
Yeah.
Hey, pull those microphones up, guys. Make yourself comfortable.
I didn't really
you guys like our studio?
Yeah, it's nice.
Nice, huh? Welcome. I appreciate you guys being here. So where do you guys play?
Well, usually we play around like family parties and everything. We haven't really made it public because we've been really busy working or in school.
That's great. So you guys work at the restaurant also?
Yeah, we do.
I'm telling you, I'm really impressed with you young guys. I'm going to say you're probably, what, 19 years old?
I'm 17.
17? You're probably, what, 14? 12? And how about you?
I'm 15.
15. I mean, guys, you know, I had a job when I was very young. I worked really hard when I was a teenager, and it turned out really well for me. You guys watch. The stuff you're doing right now is going to pay off big time when you're old like me.
Yeah,
right? I'm really proud of you guys. Play us another song, would you?
Me hace sentir, simplemente me encanta tu forma de ser. Cuando caminas más saco el hombre, y yo contigo neta si me enamoré. Me estás bien loco todo día pensando en ti. Me atrevería a llevártelo a la tal vez. Escribirte canciones de tu nombre. Cuando estoy contigo se me va el martirio. Tú me tranquilizas para hablar bonito. Sabes que no te necesito. completa mi vida como un libro, pero no has tenido perfecta te miro. Y si algún día es que discutimos, sé que nuestro amor nos desunido. Pase lo que pase, estarás conmigo.
All right, man. Good job, you guys. Excellent.
And see, Mayor, you never know who you're going to influence in your life. And I know you've done a lot of that with the city of Hammond, influencing young people to be the next generation and to be good in society. And so one of the things that I want to do is, and first God willing, become the next state rep, is just to be able to help the younger generation. And for them to be able to somebody help them out so they could continue good in their journey in life. And these guys are phenomenal. They go to school, they work even at the restaurant, they're passionate about music. And for them to come here is a highlight of their life. And thank you for having us here and having them here as well.
And Mike, I mean, for them to see a guy like you running for office, trying to be a leader in their community, that's good for them also. Is, you know what, you guys one day will be sitting in shoes just like Mike is, running for office, being leaders in your community. And it's because you're working hard as teenagers. It's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I appreciate you guys being here. What's the name of the band again?
Oh, I mean, it's just, we don't have a name or anything. It's just,
let's come up with something real cool. So.
Team Andrade.
Team Andrade.
There you go.
I like that. That's pretty cool. Well, I tell you what, guys, I appreciate you guys being in the studio. Welcome to Left of Center. I hope this is your first public gig, and you guys will go on to be famous musicians. Okay. So thank you guys very much. Tell your parents I said hey. Okay. Nice to see you guys. Thank you. God bless. Thanks for helping Mike Andrade.
Centro al izquierdo. Con el alcalde Mayor Tom McDermott. Thank you, Mayor, for having me.
I know
here.
that last part. What you said. I missed the first phrase.
Centro al izquierdo, left and center.
Left to center.
Yeah,
that's
left
right.
and center. Centro al izquierdo with Mayor Tom McDermott, or el alcalde.
Yeah, Alcalde de Hammond.
Alcalde de Hammond.
Muy bien.
See, so thank you so much for having me here, Mayor.
Mike,
I appreciate
I'm going to tell you something. I want you to hear. Okay? I know that stuff happens as a candidate towards the end of the campaign. You're winning, man. You just got to finish strong. Okay? Yes. If you're in a marathon and you're at mile 24, you know how many people want to just quit right there? They're like, this is crazy. I got 2 more miles left. You got to push hard. You got this, man. You deserve what you're going to get next week. And next Tuesday, when you find out you're the winner, it's going to be one of the best nights of your life, I promise. And make sure you come back to Left to Center. We're going to be on the air that night.
Okay.
And I'd like you to come in here and, have a couple chips and talk about your victory, okay?
Sounds good.
I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. I wish I could vote for you. You're not my state rep, unfortunately. I live in Hammond and the part of the city that votes for Carolyn Jackson. But everybody I know that lives in your district, I'm doing everything I can to get you across the finish line because you're an excellent person. You're going to be an excellent state rep. Okay.
Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Keep up the hard work. All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Good to see you. And thanks to everybody for watching Left of Center, for listening to Left of Center. We appreciate our audience. We appreciate your ratings and reviews. We will read them off on the air like we did earlier today with the gentleman from Texas. But again, Mike Andrade, thanks for the breakfast. Thanks for bringing in the young men to play music for us. Dr. Woody Myers did a great job today also. I'd like to thank Lindsay, our excellent technician in the studio, and John Vesmar, our producer of our show. Kevin Smith, who had to run out. He probably has some legal things to do. I want to thank my excellent co-host. And again, our audience, thank you for watching Left of Center. Thanks for listening to us, subscribing to us, and rating us. See you guys next week.